Welcome, Team 6-2 parents, and more specifically, Math Accelerated A parents. I just wanted to take some time to introduce myself as well as tell you a little bit about one of the instructional approaches I'm going to be using throughout this year. So first off, I am Miss Lynch. I am on Team 6-2. I might have some 6-1 students as well, but I am one of the 6-2 teachers. I teach language arts, but I mainly teach math, one of which is Math Accelerated A. So one of the things I wanted to tell you about is I am starting a kind of new instructional approach. It has been backed up by many teachers, not just in Unit 5, but around the country, that have found a lot of success with this approach. And the approach is called mastery learning. It can also be called personalized learning. And basically what that means is that students work at their own pace and work through the material so that they don't just kind of get it, and whether they get it or not, they move on. They actually take some time to, if they need to move slower through the work, they can. But if they need to move faster, they not only get to go faster, but they reach some enrichment material that I can talk to you more about here in just a bit. One of the reasons I'm trying one of these approaches is the traditional classroom and the traditional instructional approaches that I'm sure you went through in school, as well as I went through in school, really focused more on getting through the material, and it would get to that point where we would take the test and the teacher would kind of be crossing their fingers, hoping that their students would get the material and they would do well on the test. And even if they didn't, we unfortunately would have to move on. And the students weren't necessarily mastering the material. They weren't really getting it fully. And some would, but some wouldn't. And we can't slow down to the pace of the slowest student, because then our higher students or quicker learners are going to be bored out of their mind. And we can't go too fast, because then we're missing so many students. And so that's kind of the struggle that is happening with the traditional instructional approaches. And so that's why this a little bit newer approach, which is mastery learning or personalized learning, is coming about, because this approach really allows students to work at their own pace. So I'll show you the way we do that here in just a second, but to give you just a little bit more detail, with this personalized learning, students get the opportunity to move through all the curriculum at their own pace. They all get to the sort of summative assessment or final assessment at some point, but they get to do it when they're ready. So some students can do that really quickly, and they are ready to go, and they're ahead of pace. Some students seem to be right on pace, what the teacher would naturally teach at, and some might be just a little bit slower. And so with this personalized learning, each student can move through that material at their own pace and still master it, because they're not having to rush or they're not being slowed down. And so those faster students actually get that chance to reach that enrichment and challenge themselves to that next level that maybe they would have missed out on had we been teaching in this traditional approach where we go at this pace, and some students need to move faster, some need to move slower, and that's just how we would go without really making the learning personal to the student. So that's the goal with this instructional approach. It is backed up by a lot of data from many different teachers who have been already practicing this in their classroom, and I have been working with another teacher in the district, and she has been working on this or applying this in her classroom for a couple of years now, and I know she has seen great results from it, as well as she has talked with other teachers both in and out of the district, and they also have seen great results. And so now I'm jumping on board and going to give it a try. So let me take some time to show you what the students will actually be working through in order to implement this instructional approach.